When you put the question this way, it forces them to face an uncomfortable truth. And the key component is you cannot let them off the hook. Look, I can see how useful this is, but I just don't know if I have the time for it. Sound familiar? You'll come across a lot of patients in your career where the treatment plan will sound great, but then right before they're about to commit, they'll say something like, man, I just don't know if I have the time. So in this video, I'm going to show you 3 ways that you can handle this objection. By the way, my name's Phil. I'm an ex-physiotherapist turned sales and communication coach, and I help you become a better clinician through improving your soft skills. First off, the time objection actually exists in almost every single field. You can have people say there's not enough time to go for a walk. There's not enough time to go buy a new fridge. There's not enough time to cook some food. There's not enough time to go for a drive. And yet these same people will spend 15, 30, 45 minutes scrolling through their phone or watching a TV show or watching a movie. I've worked with executives, doctors, nurses, lawyers, laborers who spend 12 hours a day working, and they still make 30 to 40 minutes a day to look after themselves. Quite often, the time objection is actually just a reflection of the individual's values. It's rarely a practical or pragmatic issue. So let's go through some ways that you can handle this objection. The first way is to be very pragmatic about it. Again, this just means to be very, very practical. You assume that the person in front of you really doesn't have the time. So your approach here is to find out the minimum time they do have and then create your treatment program around that. The way you do this is if they say, I just don't know if I have the time, you ask them, okay, no, I understand. What's a realistic time frame that you can give to your rehab every single day? 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes? And depending on what they say, whatever they say, you'll say back to them, well, if you can spend 10 minutes a day, that's great, because I can create a program that only needs 10 minutes and you'll be on your way to getting better quicker. When you pose the question this way, it's very hard for them to say, oh, well, no, I don't have 10 minutes a day, because I'm fairly certain almost everyone spends 10 minutes a day scrolling on their phone. This handle will work if it really is a time issue. However, a lot of times it's not a time issue, because even after you've figured out that you can create a program that lasts 10 minutes, they'll still find a way to say no. So what's really going on here? The second reason they might say, I just don't have the time, is because they actually can't be bothered. So when they're saying, I don't have the time, what they're really saying is, I don't think I want to put in the perceived amount of effort and labor into doing the thing that you say I have to do. This is why there are so many people who will not do any exercise their entire lives, but will spend a few $100s buying supplements or the Ab Blaster Shake that will help them lose 10 kilos in 10 days, and all they have to do is drink this shake once a day. The reason this works is because these supplements are marketed as high return and very low effort. So the perception in their minds is, oh, well, I only have to spend 30 seconds drinking this shake. I don't have to sweat. It doesn't feel hard. So why wouldn't I go for this supplement? So in the previous objection, you take a pragmatic approach. And the reason that didn't work is because it's not a true reflection of the values that they have. Because most people, if they truly prioritize their health and they truly want to do something about it, 30 minutes a day is not going to be an issue. In fact, the question they'll ask you is, how can I make this work? That's the question. So with this handle, what we're trying to do is to force them to confront what they truly value. And the way you do that is this. When the patient says to you, oh, I just don't know if I have the time, you will then ask, besides time, is there anything else holding you back? They'll say, no, there isn't. And then your response will be, well, it really depends on what you value. Do you value spending 15 minutes a day on your exercises to make sure you're pain-free and living a healthy life? Or would you rather spend those 15 minutes just scrolling your phone or watching a movie or not doing the things that you know you need to do? It's up to you. When you put the question this way, it forces them to face an uncomfortable truth. And the key component is you cannot let them off the hook. After you force them to confront that question, you will feel tension. You will see it in them and you will feel it yourself. You cannot let them off the hook. You need them to make a decision. Because when they do say, no, you're right, I do value my body or my health, then you will say, okay, how about we start off with 15 minutes a day? Does that sound good for you? And most likely they'll say yes and you move forward with the program. However, if they say no, I don't think I value my body or my health that much, then it's time for you to let it go. It's not up to you to help somebody who doesn't want to be helped. you're actually just wasting your time. And even if you manage to convince them to work with you for a little bit, they most likely will never do the things that you ask them to do, and they won't improve. So they're wasting their time and their resources, and you are wasting effort. And now for you, this actually takes a bit of courage. And yes, you'll feel like you're being pushy, and yes, you might feel like it's actually being quite mean, but I need to remind you of something. As a health professional, you are the advocate of healthcare. You are the advocate of this patient's health. So if they're not willing to at least confront the truth for themselves, then you have to do that for them. And yes, they might not like you, but part of being a leader and a great clinician is saying the things that need to be said and not pandering to the whims of the patient in front of you. And by the way, if you're enjoying this video, please subscribe. The third way you can handle this time objection is just to handle it before it even comes up. Before you ask them to commit to a plan, you should ask them, is time going to be an issue for you? Now, the reason you want to ask them before it comes up is because you don't want them to build internal resistance to your question. If you present the plan and then they say, oh, I don't have the time, they already have resistance. However, before that resistance comes out, if you ask them, do you have any time issues? You're dealing with a much weaker emotional barrier. If they say, no time issues, great, move on to creating your plan. If they say, yes, I have a time issue, then this is what you say. You say, okay, I'm glad that I asked you because any rehab program that doesn't take into account your time is not going to be the program for you. So what's going to be a realistic time commitment that you can put in every single day? And whatever they tell you, that's what you should start off with. But here's the thing. Even if you get good at those three handles, there are still going to be patients who will not move forward with a treatment plan to look after themselves, okay? It's not about you. It's really a reflection of whether that person cares about their health. If it doesn't work, stop pushing. Objection handling only works with people who are, in their hearts, somehow willing to change. If you have somebody who is adamant that they don't want to do anything, then you're wasting your time and you're wasting your breath. Let these people go. Objection handling is a skill that you will need to practice as a clinician if you want to reach the most people and have the most impact. So to recap, there are 3 ways to handle the time objection. The first one is the practical way. Just work out what's best for them. The second way is to force them to confront their values. And the third way is to handle it before it even comes up. If you use these 3 objection handles, I guarantee you will get more conversions of patients who will commit to a rehab plan. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.